dado cuenta que esta serie de clases no solo han sido un paseo por las obras de Bach, sino por las interpretaciones e incluso la vida de los intérpretes. Bueno, es, me interesa mucho la opinión de cada quien. Hay gente que le fascina, hay gente que no le gusta. A mi papá le gustaba, pónganle, como de un 8.5. Siempre me decía que era mucho mejor Pinja Zuckerman, que son de los discípulos de de un violinista que o ya nació o llegó a los 2 años, algo así, a San Francisco, que llegó a destacar en todos los sentidos que ustedes quieran, tan en todos los sentidos que ustedes quieran, que la sala principal del Carnegie Hall de Nueva York, en donde quizá bueno, tengo que reconocer que la última vez que fui al Carnegie Hall, otra vez sí la gente sí guardaba respeto, porque ya me había tocado una época en la que no, y pues ya no me gustaba, pero esta última vez que fui, quizá era la fuerza del maestro Petrenko, pero qué más. Eh, bueno, entonces, si ustedes conocen el Carnegie Hall, está en la calle 57, que es de las Anchas, y la Séptima Avenida. Y pues yo creo que ahí el terreno debe ser no caro, sino lo que le sigue. Y para el tamaño de los rascacielos que hay por allí, pues es un terreno, entre comillas, desperdiciado. Pero por otro lado, tiene una gran significación histórica. Entonces, cuando ya habían decidido demolerlo, vender el predio y construir en otro lado, quizá algo todavía más, ¿cómo les puedo decir? Más fancy, más, este, esplendoroso, digamos. Hubo todo un movimiento cuyo líder fue Isaac Stern, y no lograron los permisos para demolerlo en la alcaldía de Nueva York, y por eso la sala principal, porque hay otra sala de música de cámara, ya hicieron otra subterránea, que debo de decir que fue un fracaso absoluto porque se oye el metro. ¿Cómo? ¿Será que? Y créanme que no soy el único. Ahí sí digo, ¿qué pasa? Bueno, donde sí les por eso digo que la catedral es el Whitmore Hall de Londres. En ningún otro lugar he visto a gente que va a oír el concierto, no a que la vean. Gente que todas, pero es que es increíble, todos en como que hay, o están leyendo el programa porque entienden que el programa se lee antes y después, no en el concierto, como en Estados Unidos. O, digo, perdónenme si soy demasiado purista, pero digamos que es lo más cercano a una religión que yo tengo, ¿no? Como los comunistas, ¿no? El caso es que a mí sí me gusta ese respeto, que creo que no lo he sentido ni en París, no solamente en Londres, que de por sí el inglés es flemático. Eh, pero fue una delicia, y tocar hoy en día en el Whitmore Hall es por una razón muy, muy pensada, que se llama el Whitmore Hall, que está en la calle de Whitmore, nada más por eso, que es una zona financiera, digamos. Se puede ir caminando a Piccadilly Circus, no está tan lejos. Y es por Chelsea, por ahí. Es bonita la zona. Bueno, el caso es que además hay tres, cuatro restaurantitos saliendo, que cuidado, cada uno está mejor que el otro. Bueno, para que el que tenga la suerte de estar en Londres de veras, y hay 3 o 4 conciertos a la semana. Andras Schiff es como de los normalitos, para que me entiendan. Los cuartetos de cuerdas son fuera de este mundo. Bueno, además es bellísimo, es como, ¿qué sería? Pues yo creo que sí es Art Deco. No, bellísimo, bellísimo. Bueno, ok. Les digo, es un personaje, a mí me parece sumamente inteligente. Y lo entiendo, pero no me gusta. A últimas fechas lo he sentido amargado. ¿Tiene de qué? Eh, Debe de ser muy duro haber vivido con poliomielitis desde niño y ahora que ya es un hombre viejo, pues debe de ser todavía peor y más difícil. Estoy hablando de Itzhak Perlman. Eh, pero un humor muy chispeante, una viveza mental impresionante, virtuoso del violín. Eh, yo que recuerde lo he escuchado y ha sido maravilloso. Una vez le oí el Mendelssohn y no sé si ya sabía yo lo suficiente o fue prejuicio, pero me pareció maravilloso. Y luego lo escuché y me gustó, pero hasta allí. Y me gustó mucho, pero no se siente, no es como cuando oí a Oyster, por ejemplo. Pero me gustó mucho, mucho, mucho. Cuando lo trajo la Fundación Cadima para el Auditorio Nacional, no sé si recuerdan que tocó el Beethoven. Bueno, en esa ocasión es donde noté mucha amargura porque lo entrevistó Adela Micha, que trataba de hacerse la simpática. Yo creo que no le salió bien. Porque decía, es la última vez que vengo a México porque no hay facilidades para con las gentes que tenemos el programa que yo tengo. Y estas se reían. No le veo lo cómico por ningún lado. Pero en fin. Y en general. Pero vamos a ver un documental sobre su vida y luego vamos a oír ya, que parece mentira, pero quedan dos clases ya nada más de la obra de violín solo de Bach. Entonces hoy vamos a ver el documental de Itzhak Perlman y luego con él vamos a escuchar la tercera sonata para violín solo. Acuérdense, ya que llega la última de las tres sonatas que sobre todo la número dos, o las dos nos han sorprendido de bellas y que honestamente no las conocía. Yo me iba mucho a las partitas como le hacía mi papá, que quizás son más conocidas, no sé, pero las sonatas son como más profundas, menos llamativas, más difíciles de recordar, pero traen una filosofía y profundidad muy fuerte. En fin, vamos a ver, además les digo, fíjense que es con las gentes que le encantaría uno irse a platicar. Hay gente que por su humor o por su cultura o por su agilidad mental, pues es una delicia irse a echar el trago con ellos, ¿no? Así es, irla a pasar bien. Como que me encantaría irme a echar un trago con Perlman, ¿no? Oigan, porque es muy simpático y es muy vivo y es muy culto. Adelante, por favor.
Who's next? Can you imagine what happens if you play like this very, very fast and you have an echo between each note? You can't hear anything. I once played Paganini No.5, very fast. And I once heard a tape of it in a very echoey hall. And it sounds like, I know I played every note. But see, the problem was that I played too many notes. There was there was a note here and a note there, plus these notes. And everybody tells me, okay, you've got terrific hands, you should be a cellist. You should be a bass player, you should be a pianist, anything but a violinist. My violin playing business began at the age of 3.5. I heard some violinists on the radio, I think it was Heifetz, and I liked it. And so I said, I'd like to play the violin.
Among the great performers, the story is not uncommon. For a young child to hear a musical sound at a very early age, and to be so attracted and impressed by it, as to spend the rest of his life pursuing the mysteries of that magical moment. In his mind, Itzhak Perlman has been playing the violin since the age of 3.5 and enjoying it. His command of the instrument is second to none, and his virtuosity a source of constant delight, particularly in the virtuoso showpieces that have been out of fashion for some years now. He's here playing Sarasate's Zigeunerweisen with the Philharmonia Orchestra of London, conducted by Lawrence Foster. Itzhak Perlman was born in Tel Aviv of Polish parents in 1945. At 3½, he resolved to play the violin, and a year later contracted polio. Nobody will ever know to what extent this either hindered or fostered the development of his talent. But by the age of 9, he was already giving concerts and already confronted by the idea that it would be quite impossible for him to have a successful career in the strenuous and competitive world of professional music.
I contracted polio when I was 4½. And looking in retrospect, my parents were just marvelous about the whole thing. Because people's disabilities, especially when they're children, their outlook on life really depends on their parents completely. There's a lot of tragedy among people who are disabled because the parents don't really know how to handle it. A disability is an abnormality, just as somebody who's a wunderkind is abnormal. And that's why I'm very happy that I was not a wunderkind, because there was one less abnormality in myself, you know, and there was enough abnormality as you know, there was never a thought, as there is in so many of these cases, of sending you to one of those institutions, sleeping over and, you know, getting rid of whatever there is in your household that is not usual.
There we are.
Noah! Hey, hi there.
And so I lived in the house, I had friends, I played hide and seek, I went to school like everybody else, and I was in the top of my class, which didn't hurt at all. I had a lot of fun. I liked school very, very much. And until I was 13, that was my childhood. You can make a normal situation out of an abnormal situation very, very easily. It has to do with how you are treated, what you're able to do. And in my case, this never really interfered with anything.
The talent developed in spite of the handicap, and he began to give concerts and to attract public attention. But the feeling persisted that a full-scale solo career would be quite impossible. Then, one day when he was 13, Ed Sullivan heard him and invited him to appear on the Ed Sullivan Show on United States television. The opportunity seemed heaven-sent, and the whole family moved to New York in search of training and support for what was already unquestionably a rare talent.
When I first came to the States, first we lived in a downtown hotel for one day, then another downtown hotel for another day, and then we lived there for a year. Just me and my mother. I had a little kitchen, we lived in one room, and that's when I had my first tutoring to study English. So, oh, listen, let me take you to Juilliard, the old Juilliard. I mean, this was my route. This was the route every day or 3-4 times a week. I used to go to Juilliard, and Juilliard was not at the Lincoln Center. Juilliard was all the way up to 120th Street, and right now it's a different music school. Now it's a Manhattan Music School. But
how did you get to Juilliard?
I took a taxi. Every day I took a taxi right at the corner of the liquor store, you know. And when it used to snow, I slid into a taxi. I used to fall right before the taxi and then slide right into the taxi. Yeah, it was, those days were, it was really something.
How often do you fall down?
Well, I'll tell you, falling down is becoming, I don't mind falling down. What I don't like is almost falling down, because that's the worst, you know, because that gets your adrenaline going like mad, and I said, damn, I should have fallen down. I almost fell down, you know. Fall down already. You know, either do something or don't do it. This was it. That's it. That is the building. Now, I would never go through here because there were too many steps, naturally. So I would go through there where there was not as many steps. And I must say, not as many graffiti on the wall. Not as much graffiti. So this is it. It's my old school.
I came to the United States when I was 13. I entered the Juilliard School of Music, and it was an incredible thing because they had usually had all those incredible balls that they used to run at Waldorf Astoria hotels and things like that. And it was an unusual way to play the violin because everybody would eat dinner, and then they would finish with the dessert, and then we said, okay, let's hear young Perlman here play the Flight of the Bumblebee and the Bach Nigun. And this usually occurred around 12 o'clock at night after everybody was absolutely, you know, like, oh, God, well, who is that now? And so I would go on a makeshift stage, you know, listen to the forks still being collected by the waiters and do my Flight of the Bumblebee. And you know something? There's nothing more unpleasant or more difficult than to do that because you know that you're trying to get the attention of the audience. And, you know, at 12 o'clock at night, you know, I was like 14 years old. It's not exactly the greatest things. And I did that for a few years. And when I made my Carnegie Hall debut, it was a breeze. Because, my God, I said, I'm actually having people in this hall listening to me. They haven't eaten anything. They haven't had a cocktail. They haven't complained about the hard rolls or the stuffed chicken. They actually came here to listen to me play the violin. And so for me, that was a real luxury.
Ready?
The advantages of the early years were already beginning to tell. Carnegie Hall was a breeze, and he sailed through Juilliard and won the Leventritt Award with the same apparent ease, making friends along the way with a fellow violinist, Toby Friedlander.
We met at a summer music camp in Upper New York State, and it was a Sunday, and Isaac was playing on one of the student concerts that Sunday night. And he played the Tzigane, Ravel Tzigane. And I went backstage and asked him to marry me. He was 17. It was July 4th weekend, and he was almost 18. His birthday's the end of August. And then, well, about a year or so after we met, he grew up and he became interested in girls and found a girlfriend. And it wasn't me. It was somebody else. It was terrible. So I had to kind of live through that period of time. And it was a very difficult, because you see, I was hopelessly in love with him. But he recovered from his, other girlfriend. It took a year or so. And our friendship resumed, and it grew, and it blossomed, and really marriage was the most natural thing. It was not an emotional trauma for us at all. The real change in our lives came when our first child was born, and then things changed slightly. Not that it upset us, it's just that we couldn't sleep till noon anymore. Those days are gone forever.
It's delicious.
Want a massage now? I'm really basically a family man. I love to spend time with my family. And I just cannot conceive of traveling and leaving them to grow all by themselves.
One more time, over here. Go.
As a parent, it's incredible to see your kids grow. And so many of my colleagues sometimes I spoke to one the other day, he says, my God, he said, before you know it, you miss the whole thing. You just miss the whole thing. You know that your kids are all grown up and they're away in school. And I'm determined not to do that, and I haven't been doing it.
All right, we have a little sack of potatoes here. Oh, hey. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, man, what?
I never go to Europe by myself for more than 2.5, 3 weeks maximum. Whenever I go on a longer tour, I always take the children and Toby with me. Especially in the summers, of course, we all go together. But during the winter, whenever there is a tour that involves more than 3 weeks, I say, no, thank you, I'd rather not, so that I can spend time in New York with them, which is really the most important thing in my life. And whenever I go away for 2 weeks or something, I'm always very, very miserable. I really am upset. I hate that.
Flying! Ah.
job in New York playing the fiddle, I would do it. So as a result, what I do, I really plan my life around my kids' vacations, around my vacations, around their schools, and so on and so forth. George, you got everything? You got everything?
He is a very normal man. That means he doesn't pick up his dirty clothes and put them in the hamper. That means that a great deal of the time he thinks dinner is going to appear by magic on the table. The children will get home from their various activities because they will fly and no one has to pick them up. And of course, the biggest problem, we can stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning every night because we don't have to get up, except that I have to get up at 6:30.
It's about time.
He forgets that the house does not run on magic. The telephones never stop, the doorbell never stops, people are in and out all day long. Everybody feels that they need Isaac and that they need him more than anybody else. Students and managers and recording people, and everybody wants to talk to him all the time. And in order to make it a peaceful, comfortable, healthy environment, one has to really think about all the problems and how best to solve them for everyone.
Well, good. I think you should.
He has to have some frustrations because he can't play basketball, he can't ice skate, he can't do lots of things. Now, we around him don't feel that because he handles it with his own grace and style. But he must, inside, in his soul, want to run across the basketball court. You know, he's such a fan of basketball and so on. I suppose eating helps with that.
Is she pregnant?
She's a boy, dear.
The noodles are frying for me in my gown.
He dreams about food. He calls me from Europe to tell me what he had for lunch. I think it's nuts, personally. I really do.
I got into cooking because I went on a diet. And I explained to you how this happened. You see, the problem with diets are they're really disgusting because you really don't have anything that you want to eat because it's all yucky. It's blech. And one day I said to myself, look, if I can cook myself diet food and I can use certain ingredients that would be tasty and yet still not fattening, it would be terrific. And that's the way I started on the cooking. It started with a very nice idea, and then it kind of went out of hand. And then I said, well, if I can cook diet stuff, just imagine what I can do with real stuff. So then I started into Chinese cooking, and I really love it. As a matter of fact, on the contrary, when I cook, I eat less. Most cooks have a sort of a natural inferiority complex. You know, it doesn't taste as good when you cooked it as when somebody else cooked it. All I do is just taste and make sure that it's okay, and then I just sit and relax and watch everybody else eat. Oh yes, I love performing. It's great. I like the audience. I like to make the audience come to me. I like to go to them. It's really I feel it's a give and take situation. I think that when you play, your personality has to be in the music, but you cannot put yourself ahead of the music. The music has to be ahead of yourself. But of course, if you have a personality and you have some sort of a rapport with the audience, it has to show. You really have to have the contact. As a matter of fact, if you don't have that adrenaline working within you, I don't think that you can play so well. It means you might as well play in the bathroom or in a kitchen or some places. That's as much excitement as you're going to get out of it.
Welcome to St. John's, Smith Square, London, and to our Radio 3 lunchtime concert. Our guest today is the violinist Itzhak Perlman, who's going to play the partita in E major by Bach. This is the last of the set of 3 sonatas and 3 partitas, which Bach completed in 1720, when he was employed at Köthen. And now it's with great pleasure that we welcome Itzhak Perlman.
Richard?
Yeah?
Can we do something?
Yes. What are you doing today?
A what?
A take
Of this?
of this.
You want to do a take of
A
this?
take.
Kingsway Hall, London, to record Beethoven sonatas with Vladimir Ashkenazy.
Can you give a little fiddle, a little more something? Bloom?
It's difficult because of the lights and the beat.
They've been recording the Beethoven sonatas for some years and are now about to complete the series with the G major sonata, opus 96.
Our relationship has been, let's see, quite a few years, well, almost 10 years, maybe more than that. And when I look back, this is like a period in which we grew together. And the way we played together also grew. And I always find that, at least in my case, that there is something extra special that my playing gets when I play with him.
Should be more piano.
That was good.
That's nice. Yeah, but that
Should
was
have told me that before.
what?
Because I didn't do the diminuendo.
But spontaneity is what this is all about. It's true. Now actually, it's all right.
Of course it is.
Naturally. But see, I moved a little. I moved a little. You're right, I should move it.
We need more piano here as well.
And I can also play less the F sharps. Ta ta ta, I'll do less.
We're having that on next week. Isn't
Really? We did have that?
it? It's crazy.
We tried each other out to see if it was going to work or not work. And we decided to give it a go. Let's start from something terrific. So we decided to do the Beethoven sonatas. And we're still doing them. You know, it took us, I think, about 2.5 years to just do the Kreutz Sonata. But that's because it was a growing process all the time. I always find that we always have fights about music, which is a very healthy thing to have. Sometimes really like half an hour we kind of fight very, very hard about just basics of music, which is, I think, as the end result of it is growth. So I really appreciate that.
if you compare those phrases, those answers, those echoes between the piano and the violin.
This was good. Listen to it.
Take it. No, take this one.
Right.
That's definitely in. No, right, for example, here. There's nothing.
Yeah. Do you think you were playing that?
I was playing as
beautifully,
hard as I could.
Yeah?
No, as hard as I could.
Well, maybe too hard, because I find there's a certain thinness. I mean, we can help a bit there.
Some
we probably
violinists
need to.
can play
Piano's got,
yeah.
you know, two
Why is
lines.
it always me? Why is it never you? It's always me. I've been playing hard, I've been playing soft, I've been playing thin, I've been playing thick. You've been recording thin.
Piano is too loud. That's what it is.
No, the piano is beautiful. Believe me, it's
Why is it
gorgeous.
always us?
It has a gorgeous sound. Gorgeous. Terrific. Excuse me.
London again, the Royal College of Music.
All the lights.
At the end of a memorable and highly successful tour of Europe with Pinchas Zuckerman.
Such a pleasure to see you, sir. Oh, wonderful. Please, keep it up. Very good, very good. Lovely violin. Thank you so much. Here we go. First note.
All right.
I had a tour with Pinky that for me was the most wonderful tour I've ever had.
My foot doesn't bounce.
No, I gotta do this. I can't come in here.
Page, yeah.
No.
First of all, Pinky is such a individual person. Let's not talk about musicianship or anything like this. We take that for granted. But to go on tour with Pinky is it's a riot. It's a gas. It's so much fun. I've known Pinky since childhood, since when Pinky was the ripe age of 9 and I was the ripe age of 12, you know. And the thing is that when we play together on the stage, again, it's something that happens between us, the rapport. The musical improvisation that went on the stage was something for me that was a very private thing, but yet, of course, it came across to the audience. At least that's what I felt. And it's also the kind of repertoire that we play, just 2 violins with nothing else. And there was always a sense of expectancy, and, you know, we just had a lot of fun.
Aspen, in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, home of the Aspen Music School and Summer Festival, and for some years past, the summer retreat of the entire Perlman family.
Well, I've heard about this place many years, but, you know, hearing about a place and experiencing a place are two different things. And Dorothy DeLay was my teacher. She started to come to this place, I think, about 7 or 8 years ago. She said to me, you gotta come, even if it's like for 3 days, 4 days. So one summer I decided, okay, take the family, come have a little 4-day vacation. We stayed for about a week, and at the end of the week it was the most horrible, difficult departure of my life from any place. I got what they call the Rocky Mountain fever. It was something that just grabbed you, wouldn't let you go, and it's an experience that caused me to completely change my entire schedule in the summer, my entire life in the summer. Yeah, nothing so that we can have dum, bomb, right? Yes, yes. Arco on the last one. The last arco. Now, I want everybody to come in really fortissimo at that's right, 124. And then you start doing your stuff with the hairpins. But before you just come in really far, especially basses. Can we try that? Still didn't hear the very first in the bass. 113, 113, please. All right, the second one, pianissimo, okay? Let's start from that one.
Big lob. Where is it? Oh.
The summer has become all of a sudden something very special, very precious. I try to satisfy myself musically as well as visually. I just take everything in. I soak everything. And all I can tell you is that when my family, my children and Toby go back to New York, the only thing we do is we look forward. It sustains us for the next year.
No, that was good. That was good.
But basically, I just come here to do things musically that I don't do throughout the year, during the seasons.
Now take your time. There you go. Yeah, but see, you see where's your bow is? The bow is around here. It's around, it's in down under, Right around here. Yeah, but you see, now, when last time I told you to hold the fiddle up, you said, thank you very much. Okay? Right there. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be, like that with a, But, you see, the thing is that don't dig yourself a hole, don't go like that. Right from there, one more time. Da-da-da-da-da. Sing. Right. Now sing again. No. Take a little time. It's a second tone. And then go. But prepare it, because this is a completely completely for virtuoso purposes. So you can take time, do it. All right, same spot. Take your time. Now take your time. There you go. All right, that's very cute, very nice. But I want to hear it. You start, this is like a competition. Who can play more notes with less bow? Why? Do something, use a little bit more bow, because it's very small, Wait for it, yeah. No, what will happen if you just, I don't know, let's experiment. What happens if you don't do the ricochet? What would if you just do spiccato? I don't know, something. That's pretty good. And it gives you more of a chance, you could do a whole sweep, If you're facing there, you go. A whole sweep of the thing. But what my point is? I love to teach. I think that teaching helps me a lot. The most important thing about playing concerts is to be able to listen while you're playing. Sometimes you listen while you're playing and you say to yourself, why? I say to myself, why is it not going quite well? And then all of a sudden I say to myself, listen to what you preach. All day yesterday you were talking about certain thing in the bow. Do it yourself. Don't just say to somebody else. And I do it, and it really helps me. That's number one. Number two, it's very nice to help people, help young people, and I think that I do a good job. I think that the important thing about teaching, beside knowing what you're talking about on the technical terms, is to give support to the students, to really tell them, to give compliments when compliments are needed, and to be able to make criticisms in such a way that they will not be destructive. All right, try from here.
more. Da-dee-da-dee-da-dee. Now you go. You know, don't rush. It's time, plenty of time. Very good. Okay, we'll start by you telling me how you do the staccato bit. Now, is it, if you stiffen the arm, is that what you do? Uh-huh, and then what do you do?
Hope for the best.
Hope for the best, yeah. No, you know, no, there's a story I never forget. Joseph Gingold told me once that he did a concerto and there was supposed to be a lot of staccato there, and he didn't have a good staccato, and so Eugene Izai was at the concert, and Izai was a huge, tall fellow, and quite frightened to a violinist who's starting, and or any colleague of his, because he was such a giant. And he came backstage and he says, "What's with the staccato? Where was the staccato? No staccato." So he says, "I'm sorry, Mr. Izai, but I don't have a staccato." He says, "I'll give you a staccato. Don't worry." He says, "Just put the violin under the chin." So he says, "Now put the bow on the string." And he goes, "Go!" And he said he got so nervous, he says he hasn't lost it since.
Bueno, creo que ya conocemos bastante mejor a Perlman. Yo diría que es uno de los brillantes, de los 10 sin duda más brillantes de su generación. Junto con Zuckerman, Gilshaham, probablemente Vengerov, hay varios. Bueno, digamos, les voy platicando mis comentarios para irnos a un intermedio y oiremos la sonata número 3 ya. Lo primero que me llamó mucho la atención y que le puse especial atención en cuanto a música, obviamente fue el primer movimiento de la tercera partita, el que les digo que oí con Sherin que como que le evité el de tararán, tan, 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 tarararán, tan. Esa. Aquí estoy pensando y pensando y pensando, tratando de analizar cuál es el sentido de Perlman. Porque de técnica está más allá de cualquier cosa. Y a lo mejor voy a decir una verdadera tontería, pero ¿qué me pareció a mí? Como una interpretación muy neoyorquina. Eh, yo creo que lo neoyorquino se lleva. Es hasta otro tipo de personalidad. A mí me encanta Nueva York y los neoyorquinos. Hasta el slang de Nueva York me gusta. Pero hay quien lo abomina, digo, hay para todo. Pero se me hace como soy citadino de por sí, esto es muy concentrado y los rascacielos y las opciones y todo, ¿no? Siempre me produce mucha emoción ir, mucho más que ir a Estados Unidos. Pero es una versión un poco descarnada, me pareció. No sé si conocen algunos de ustedes a un pintor belga, Piet Mondrian. Así me sonaba, como rectángulos, así rápidos, rápidos. Luego, bueno, este Vladimir Ashkenazi, Es muy bueno, yo lo llegué a escuchar en un recital de piano hace muchos años en la sala mesa. Y sé que ahora es el hombre fuerte de la música, ni más ni menos que en Australia, como director. También es un hombre ruso él, de mucha calidad, mucha. Vladimir Ashkenazi. Pero ya ven que chocaba con Perlman en el fondo. Eh, en la molestia de Perlman no con Zuckerman se lleva muy bien. Es más, es célebre el grupo de los cinco que tocan, yo diría ya es una grabación referencial de cuando estaban muy jovencitos del quinteto La Trucha, que es al violín Perlman, a la viola Zuckerman, que él es un gran violista, más que violinista. Luego al cello está ni más ni menos que yo, eh, no, miento. En el cello no está Yo-Yo Ma, está Jacqueline Dupré, esposa de Daniel Barenboim, que está al piano. Y por último, en el contrabajo está Subineta, cosa extraña, pero es una delicia de video, ya lo pusimos en una ocasión. Como que con Perman y Zuckerman ha habido mucha empatía siempre. A mi papá le gustaba más Zuckerman, pero Perlman también es extraordinario. Les digo, las dos veces que yo le he oído, es mucho más que bueno. ¿Qué más? No, y les digo, la vida de los músicos de cámara es muy fácil, como tiene que haber tanta conexión espiritual que se pase a la sexual o al amoroso, sucede mucho. Y, e inclusive hay matrimonios que nacieron de grupos de música de cámara que normalmente tienen mucho éxito, como el 1%, digamos. Bueno, qué bella la sonata Kreutzer, es la 9 de las 10 de Beethoven, para piano y violín. Eh, es bellísima la combinación esta de los dos violines, pero la que también es bellísima, no solo en la Sinfonía Concertante de Mozart, sino que sin orquesta en una obra de Händel arreglada, por no recuerdo cómo se llama, una obra de Händel para violín y viola y la tocan en un bis en la Filarmónica de Israel, Zuckerman y Perlman es algo de veras espectacular. ¿Qué más? Luego cuando es como miren, en la orquesta de cámara muchas veces, que es lo que tocan del invierno de las cuatro estaciones de Vivaldi, el concertino, sea el primer violín, como habrán visto aquí con toda obviedad, es el director. De muy malos directores hay quien dice que el que los lleva es el concertino y no, ni ven ni pelan al director.